Let's take a scrolling break and open up the Word of God together. This is now day 53 of the Bible reading plan, and we are reading John chapter 9. So, why don't you pause this video, go read John chapter 9, and then come back and share with us something that stood out to you in the comments. Today, what stood out to me are verses 26 to 34. And so this is a kind of conversation between a man who was born blind and the Pharisees. And I'm just going to talk about it a little bit after I read it here. So in verse 26, it says this. They said to him, "What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes?" He answered them, "I have told you already, and you would not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you also want to become his disciples?" And they reviled him, saying, "You are his disciple, but we are disciples of Moses. We know that God has spoken to Moses, but as for this man, we do not know where he comes from." The man answered, "Why, this is an amazing thing. You do not know where he comes from, and yet he opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners, but if anyone is a worshiper of God and does his will, God listens to him. Never since the world began has it been heard that anyone opened the eyes of a man born blind. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing." They answered him, "You were born in utter sin, and you would teach us?" And they cast him out. And so we have two groups here. So we have the Pharisees and the man who was born blind, and they have two very different views on Jesus and what happened here. So the Pharisees thought that this man is either because of his sin or the sin of his parents that he was born blind. And they thought that, because he's blind, he's lesser than. And he's not a Pharisee. He's not well taught in the law, so who is he? But he's a man who was healed by Jesus. And it shows that he is a follower of God. And you can tell that he does know a thing or two. And even though, he's not as learned as the Pharisees, he answers very wise. And he's saying, I've only been healed by the power of God. No power other than God can heal a man born blind. It's apparent to see. But the Pharisees, even though they see this, and they're seeing all the other signs that Jesus is doing, but they're refusing to believe. Because even though they see the signs, and they see the evidence that Jesus is God, they refuse to believe because they're ignorant, and it requires change in them. And it shows that they're in the wrong. And so I want to encourage you guys to, not to be ignorant of the truth, but to listen to the truth and let the truth, be true, I guess. So God bless, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.